So we got a video about women with a disability when she has her service dog and she's trying to get into an Uber. However, the Uber driver is denying her. I want you I want your thoughts after this video.
So also, she is a blind woman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Discrimination looks like. Hashtag LYFT driver verbally abuses and denies a professional blind woman with a trained guide dog.
I don't have to order a pet lift by law because you signed a contract that said just say yes. Deny your right. I'm going to deny your right. Go ahead and close my door, please. So you're denying my service because you don't have, ma'am. If your animal damages my car, that has nothing. It's a $75,000 guide dog. Okay. And this is a $100,000 vehicle. You'll be hearing from Lyft. Okay. I was going to call them because you didn't pay for a pet lift. You do know that I do not have to pay for a pet lift. There's a pet lift and a pet Uber? Yes, and then because according to the ADA, according to the ADA, I don't have to order a pet lift. Argue with that. I know what the dog does. You're telling me what the dog is for. But if the dog damages my car, what does that benefit me? What do you think $75,000 in training does? Okay, and guess what? The dog still can piss and shit in my car. Period. Wow. Really? Period. Yes, really. That's the reason why they have pets. You need to be fired. Okay. Because really I won't let your dog get in my car with leather seats. It's a service dog. Okay, my seats are leather. Do you have a towel for your dog? I don't need a towel for my dog. Therefore, close my door. You're not even prepared to have your dog in here. I pick up pets. I pick up pets all the time. Really? People come and they are prepared for their dogs to ride in a luxury vehicle. This is a $100,000 car. And you're asking me to let the dog come in here with no blanket, nothing. And I'm asking you, did you pay for a pet Uber? My seats could get damaged because of your dog.
So, as a lot of you know, and some of you might not know, I myself and Jesus and Ian were both, the three of us are legally blind. We have different types of visual impairments. However, of the three, I'm the only one that has a service dog, a guide dog, CNI guide dog named Lucy. She's our mascot on the picture there, on the profile picture. I've been having her since 2021, so about 4 years now. I myself have encountered a lot of these situations with Lyft specifically. So yes, I do have a couple comments. So I have some critiques. The biggest critique is obviously for the Lyft driver because it just comes off as such a fucking asshole, so rude. Because I get it, dogs, cats, pets, whatever, they're going to damage your car. I get that. It's $100,000 vehicle. It's luxurious, as she's mentioned, and everything. I get that. Where I think one of the confusions is becoming more and more obvious to me is that people aren't, because ordinary people take their dogs with harness, or they're trying to make basically their dogs look as much as service dogs as they can. Not mentioning you also have other types of service dogs where you do use maybe like certain types of like harness. So for the ordinary, American or person that comes across somebody with a guide dog, they might not know the difference. I literally again, this is we're recording in April of 2025. I literally dealt with this situation a couple days ago at church, where somebody stopped me and told me that I couldn't come in with my pet, and I explained that it was a service dog. They had to go and talk to the people management, I don't know, people in charge of the church. So the person, I don't know if they spoke to somebody, in charge of the church or whatever. They came back and told me that I still couldn't come in with the dog. My mom was the one who, I guess, asked, because I was not feeling good. I was not in a good mood, and I wasn't going to curse somebody out in church. So I was ready just to turn around and just walk out. But my mom, I guess she convinced them to let me in. So as a lot of people in the U.S. know, we have what's known as the ADA that the blind lady in the video does mention, which stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act, which refers to the fact that people with service dogs, people with disabilities with a service dog, have access to any public place, facility. So churches, schools, parks, government buildings, as long as it's not literally going in somewhere where ordinary person is not supposed to be, the dog is allowed. Public transportation, that also includes planes, that includes I don't know, wherever any public place that a person can go to, a service dog is allowed by the ADA, by law, to be able to be brought on. So by the same rules, both Lyft and Uber are supposed to be okay. Like the Uber drivers, Lyft drivers are supposed to be okay with people with disabilities, with service dogs, specifically guide dogs, to be able to come on without any issues. So I agree with what the lady said, the blind lady, what she said, that she doesn't need to have to order a special type of ride, because she doesn't. By ADA, you can ride a ordinary ride with your service dog. Now, I've had this issue multiple times before, especially when I first got Lucy, with Lyft specifically, where I was turned from getting a ride and turned away. And they told me, no, we can't take you because of your dog. And then they, would drive off. And at first I wouldn't report it until a little bit, I got a little bit more used to being a guide dog user. Something that I was suggested and I started doing was sending messages. Once I got my ride, I would send a message to the driver. A lot of the time, because they're driving, they don't see the messages, or a lot of the time they pretend like they don't. So they will get here, not see it, and then they would still turn me away. So what I started doing, I would add it in the notes. So this way, before the person takes my ride, they would see the note. But unfortunately, you have a lot of people who don't read, especially people who their first language isn't English. So they tend to take the ride, get here, and then act all shocked that you have the service dog that you literally add. Because I'll usually add, like, I'm blind. I keep it very general. I'm blind and I'm traveling with a guide dog. But I've had situations. I remember one time I was taking my dog Lucy to the pet hospital. And she had a doctor's appointment, and I had scheduled the ride, put it in the notes and everything, and I had started at 10 a.m. My appointment was at 11 a.m. Takes about a half an hour to get there. And I know how, sometimes you order your rides, they cancel. So I know the whole process. And I'm mentioning being, the whole cancellation was because of Lucy. I knew the process. So I started scheduling my pickup since 10. So the first guy comes and tells me, oh, I can't because of the dog. And I'm like, dude, I literally added in the notes. Oh, I didn't see it. So I had to report it to Lyft. Then the next person comes, same bullshit. Add it in the notes. Oh, no, I can't take your dog, man. And I had to report both of them to Lyft. And it wasn't the first time either that I had reported it to Lyft, of people, of drivers turning me away because of Lucy and having that guide dog. And my anger is really not, my frustration is really not that they turn me away because they don't want me to have the dog. My frustration is I do my part in letting them know ahead of time, giving them that enough time to see he's traveling with a guide dog, service dog, or a dog, if they don't know how to read, enough to at least reject and not take my ride. So that way you don't waste my time, especially on the days where I do have a doctor's appointment, either for myself or for Lucy. And it becomes frustrating when you have people who take the ride, waste my time, come and reject me and tell me it's because of the dog. Now, what the lady was saying, that, oh, it's unfortunately the stigma that a lot of people that are ignorant to guide dogs or service dogs alone have, that, oh, because they're dogs, they're gonna mess up, they're gonna piss shit, they're gonna tear up the seats and whatever. I like what the lady said. Now, I don't know how much Lucy cost. Maybe it's the same thing, a 75,000 training. So the service dogs, they are trained to not do that. So it was pretty offensive and ignorant for this person. Oh, well, that doesn't mean that, the dog is not going to piss or shit and this and this and that. Now, where one of my critiques for the blind lady that I have, well, actually two. One, the fact that she did it, if she's the type that she does let her dog sit on the seat, why didn't you bring a blanket or a towel? because that might have at least decreased the tension with the driver. Who knows? Because at the end of the day, they do shed fur. Regardless of how much you spent to train them, they're still animals at the end of the day. They still have fur, and they do shed the hair. I know my dog does. So usually my dog, I'll let her sit on the floor of the car. I won't have her sit up on the seat unless it's a friend or a family member, a girlfriend, whoever that might have a car and is okay with me doing that without a blanket or a towel to put under Lucy. So that is one of my critiques. Another one, why do we have to stay there in the car or out, whatever, by the car, arguing with this person? Obviously, the person is rejecting you, and I don't understand why going back and forth. Report it. Report it. Tell them, what they told you, because no matter how much they say, they already violated your rights, so you can already report that for that.
If I may add, yeah, you are right though. She is wasting her time, like going back and forth with him, because at this point the lady has already made up her mind. It's like you're not getting in here, sadly.
And not mentioning, why would you want to be in the car with somebody that's hostile towards you like that? You get me? Like, I don't want to be in a car with somebody who doesn't want me in their car, and they're gonna be right there talking shit, because then I'm gonna end up slapping the shit out of them.
What do you think of the Uber driver telling her that, hey, there's a pet option, like choose that? Do you think that she was in the right to do that, or do you think otherwise?
No, it's stupid to even suggest it, because like the lady was saying, even though, like I said, I have my critiques about the blind lady, by ADA, we have the right to, ride a normal ride with our dogs. We don't have to get a special ride. Now for Lyft, you guys can share in the comment. Anybody who might know, I'm not aware of that Lyft pet. I know Uber does. As far as I know, Lyft doesn't. So I'm not too sure what the lady was talking about, but maybe I'm wrong. You can share that in the comment section. Another side that I would critique is also Lyft and Uber, because this is not the one and only time that things like this have happened where people are turned away or discriminated against for different reasons. Specifically people with disabilities. Because at one point, are we how are we training these people? You get me? Like, how are we just training them? And even when we're reprimanding them, what exactly are we training them with? Because if they're still with this mentality, then they're lacking that type of training where they know, when it comes to people with disabilities, both people with, whether they have a wheelchair, a walker, or a cane, a guide dog, or service dog, whatever, they have these rights. Why aren't they being trained? I think that's also on Lyft and Uber, the companies themselves, where that type of training needs to be also included. So my advice to anybody with a disability, with a service dog, or any type of disability that has been discriminated against by one of these two ride companies, always report it. Always report it. Don't, I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to get somebody fired. No. If your rights are violated, then they don't deserve to have a job. Now, don't go around just because someone offended you and this or this and that, or pissed you off, that means that you go and you get them fired either. But people should be held responsible if they're violating laws. You get me? We are in this country. We want to pick and choose what laws we want to follow and what laws we don't want to follow. Well, then these laws should also be followed, because we don't choose to have the disabilities that we do. And even though we make the decisions to have the dogs or the things that that help us, that doesn't mean that if we couldn't prefer to not have them, we wouldn't. And if you have a problem, then you shouldn't be in that. I believe there is a you in the contract you can put that you don't want to have any pets, and you could probably even include service dog if that's how you really feel and you don't want your car. At the end of the day, that is your car, that is your property, and I think you do have that right to say to the company, I don't want to give rides to these people. Or again, you know, I do think it's also on us as a disabled community, especially the ones with dogs, because sometimes we also, if it's a share ride, we don't know if the other person that's sharing the ride with us has any type of allergies, or even if the driver has any type of allergies. So we also need to be considerate a little bit more in that regard to at least give them a heads up. So the lack of communication on both ends, I think, was missing. Obviously, the driver is completely at fault at this, but I do think that both Lyft and Uber companies, as well as this lady, could have handled the situation a little bit better than what it is. You got anything you want to add?
I don't feel like I need to add anything to this conversation anymore. I think you put it really, really well. And considering, you're the one with the most experience in this conversation. So, thanks for putting it as you did.
Thank you for having me. So hopefully you guys like that. We will see you guys next time. Go check out this video of the blind lady being denied a Lyft ride because of her service dog. No, it's Lyft.
One of those.
Shut up, Jesus. But I'm Richie here with my cousin Jesus. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoy this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, download, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.